What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. So check this out. I think this article, and I told you guys we would come back to it. I think this article, although it's full of woke nonsense on NPR, how streaming has broken Hollywood but saved TV. Now it's time to do your part. Look, I'm not here to talk about it saving TV and doing our part, but just the fact that streaming broke Hollywood. And the only reason I'm even touching on this is that it brought up one specific statistic that I just wanted to kind of highlight. And it's in this paragraph right here where it says, it's obviously we now have too much television for the audience to process, with 599 series available last year, according to data from FX Networks. Yeah, 599 series. Might as well just say 600. 600 television series throughout all of streaming, all of television, everything, cable, whatever, okay? That's obviously way too much. And listen, this cannot be sustained. This is not sustainable. 600 series, I guarantee you, you cannot watch 10% of that. Even if you watch the series like every week, it's like, okay, I'm going to focus on this series. I'm going to watch this series. You're only going to get through 52 series in a given year. And I know nobody does that. So there's no way in the world you can watch all of the content that's out there. It's just entirely too much content. And it's getting expensive, all right? And Hollywood has no way to account for this. They have no way to pay for all of this. Because now the shifting landscape with streaming has created a problem that Hollywood doesn't know how to solve. And I don't think they can solve without making some drastic changes. We're going to see a whole lot of cuts, once these strikes are finished. Writers, I think a lot of writers are going to be looking for new work. They're already looking for work. I think they're really going to be looking for brand new jobs. There's going to be a whole lot of purging of bad writers, in Hollywood. Same with actors. Because look, you can't sustain this. We're going to have to cut this in half, probably at least. So now instead of making 599 series, remember, this doesn't even include movies. They're going to probably say, okay, well, we're going to have to reduce this down to about 300, television series, And I think ultimately we're going to see some sort of consolidation on a lot of these streaming platforms because a lot of these guys aren't even making money. I don't think anybody's really making money right now, which kind of brings you to the issues with these strikes, right? Now, these are what I consider the main sticking points with the strikes. You got the streaming residuals, okay? That's number one, in my opinion. The number one problem with the strikes on both the actors and the writers' side are residuals. Then you got with the writers, obviously, the mini rooms and the writers' rooms, that's very important to them. Also, third, you got better upfront pay. I think both sides want more money, upfront to help them, pay their bills and everything because they don't work on projects year round, so they want to get more money upfront. And then obviously they're looking for some AI protections. Both sides are looking for that. But the number one issue is streaming residuals. And how do you figure this out? How do you figure out what's a fair amount to pay for streaming residuals? I don't think anybody knows the answer to that. I don't think that they're going to figure out the answer for several years. This is going to take people actually sitting down and just going through the numbers over the course of time to try to figure out, okay, what's a fair amount for streaming residuals, because you got so many different types of streaming services, different companies, and there's content being made on all of them. And there's no way in the world you can know, like, okay, this is a fair amount to pay for this type of show versus this type of show on this particular streaming service versus a different streaming service, right? How do you know what's fair? And here's what I mean by this. This is the streaming services by subscribers in the world. This is a list of all the streaming services in the world, how many subscribers they have, okay? And obviously right here at the top, we got Netflix sitting on top with 238 million subscribers worldwide, all right? And then you see Amazon Prime is number 2 with 200 million. Disney Plus is third, 146 million, all right? But then way down here at the bottom, like, for example, you got Peacock. All right, with 24 million. Now, Peacock is owned by NBC Universal. They're one of the, voices in the room with the AMPTP, with all of these other studios trying to come up with some sort of a fair deal for streaming residuals, for the writers and the actors, etc. Now, how do you compare a studio or a streaming service like Peacock with a streaming service like Netflix? You can't. There's a clear difference, right? So, like, if Peacock, for instance, let's say Peacock had a show that had 5 million viewers, in the first 5 days or whatever, it got 5 million viewers. Well, that's pretty solid for Peacock. That's like 20% of its, total overall viewers. Like, hey, man, or subscribers. 20% of our subscribers watch this one show. Hot damn, that's great numbers, okay? But that same number, that same 5 million people, that don't make nothing. That is not even a dent in Netflix or Amazon Prime or Disney Plus. That's nothing, okay? It's like, oh yeah, that show's ready to get canceled. But on Peacock, it's a hit. So it's like they say, hey man, pay us for the hit shows. Well, on Peacock, it's a hit, but would it be a hit on Netflix? Nobody knows, okay? And so how do you square this circle? How do you figure out what's a fair deal where you're trying to pay everybody and you got to come up with some kind of formula that takes care of all of these actors and writers that want, their streaming residuals? How do you figure that out? I don't know if you can figure that out this go round. I don't think it's possible to figure that out in this particular round of negotiations, all right? They said, hey, here's the streaming numbers. We'll provide you with streaming numbers. You can check them once a quarter, all right? And then from there, 3 years from now, tell us what you think about it and figure something out that makes sense for you. That's basically what they're saying. That's what they're offering right now. And honestly, that's probably the best they're going to get. And then consider that they're asking for this deal, this streaming residuals deal, at a time when the streamers are still trying to figure this thing out. Like, how do we make money off of this? They're like, Disney is losing money on Disney Plus every quarter, right? They lost 1.5 billion one quarter, then they lost another billion the next quarter. Now, the losses are coming down, right? I think like after that, they lost like 750 million. So it's like, okay, we're losing less money, but we're still losing money. It's not like we're making money. So at some point in time, yeah, they're going to turn a profit. But then what does that look like? How do they square this circle again? They're asking for a deal right now when they're trying to figure this thing out. That's why I said streaming is the number one problem for everybody. It's the number one problem for writers. It's the number one problem for actors. It's the number one problem for the studios. It's the number one problem for the streaming services themselves. Nobody understands this thing quite the way everybody's thinking they do. They have some idea, Netflix started this monster up. But now all of these studios are jumping into the game, and what they've created in the process is this unsustainable system that they can't really even make money off of, They can't even really make money off of it like they used to make money when it was with cable. And it's kind of weird, but yeah, I think the only way that they can make money now is just to kind of go back to the advertisers. This article came out a couple of weeks ago, why streaming services are pushing subscribers to add tiers. With better margins on advertising-supported offerings, Disney, Netflix, Paramount, NBC Universal, and Warner Brothers Discovery find themselves incentivized to usher consumers to those plans. Yeah, they want to push everybody to the advertisers because that's the only way that they can legitimately make money, right? That's the only thing that they can count on, the system that they already knew. They don't know how to make money off of streaming other than, well, just put some ads in there, okay? That's all we can do. That's why Disney made the deal that they did with Charter. That's why Disney said, you know what? Do what Charter wants, all right? Let's go ahead and take care of this. Remember, this deal included Disney Plus, but it included what kind of Disney Plus? On top of the increased linear bundle price, Disney now gains new distribution of Disney Plus with ads to a majority of the 14 million plus Charter paid TV subscribers. So assuming this means about 12 million additional subs, Disney stands to gain additional revenue of around 400 to 500 million annually, plus it keeps 100% of the advertising sales. Yeah, they wanted that Disney with ads, okay? Because that looks good to advertisers. Like, oh shoot, advertisers, guess what? We just added an additional 12 million additional subs to our ad-based tier. That's what we just did. Oh, the advertisers love that. Oh, okay, so we got 12 million additional people, that we can sell ads to. Yeah, let's start negotiating on what adds this and what adds that or whatever, But yeah, I think what we're going to end up seeing is everything's just going to go back to like cable almost. A la carte cable. That's something people have wanted for a very long time, by the way. So they'll say, okay, well, I'll go to our streaming services and, which one shall I pick? Say I'll get Netflix. Maybe I get Netflix without ads. I get Netflix, no ads. I'll pay the premium for that. But then maybe I get the Disney Plus with the ad version. Okay. I don't mind watching some ads on Disney Plus because, that's cool, whatever. But they don't have enough good programming for me to pay for that premium version without ads. So maybe they'll do that. And, they'll pick up a couple of things, HBO Max. They'll pick up maybe Peacock. That gives you basically like the a la carte cable situation that a lot of people have been wanting anyway, right? So I think that's how, consumers are going to move forward with this. The consumer choice will be, hey, let's just pick up a couple of, streaming services. They'll completely dump cable. What's stopping that from happening is sports, live sports. is stopping that from happening. But you see everybody starting to add live sports, okay? You got Peacock has live sports, obviously. You know, Amazon Prime got live sports. Apple has live sports. You know, Disney obviously owns ESPN. I think Disney is going to combine Hulu, ESPN. They're not going to have a bundle. It's just going to be one big thing, all right? But live sports is an advertiser's gold mine. Like, advertisers want that. Like, where's your live sports at? You had live sports, I would give y'all more money, you know? So I think that live sports is going to need to be added into all of these various little streaming platforms, the ones that will survive this. Because again, I think the final boss is big tech. I think big tech is going to come through and wipe the floor with all of these studios and either send them crying for their mothers, okay? Or just basically buying them up and saying, okay, you guys come along with us, all right? Because think about it, like all of these studios have problems. You know, they got streaming services that ain't making money. You know, they don't know what's going on. They got the actors breathing down their neck, all right? They got the writers breathing down their neck. Where's our money? We want more money. So they have all of these issues. On top of that, some of them have debt, like major debt. Like David Zaslav with Warner Brothers Discovery inherited like $50 billion in debt, you know? Disney right now is just dealing with debts and lawsuits and all kinds of stuff, right? Yeah, they probably are going to get the money to pay for Hulu, but what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to sell something. They're going to have to sell off ABC. I remember people saying that, yeah, you know, Disney would never sell Lucasfilm. I never thought they would sell ABC, but they're going to sell it, you know, eventually. So that's where everything is at. Who better to sell this stuff to than Apple, who doesn't even need to be, you know, in the movie business. They're doing it as, for, you know, just for fun. Apple's going to end up buying something. Amazon's going to end up buying something, you know. Who? I don't know. You know, they might combine, say, hey, let's, you know, link up with Paramount. You know, all right, bring them Paramount Plus subscribers over to Amazon Prime. Boom. And then I honestly really believe that Apple is trying to buy Disney. And if that happens, you got Disney, you got Apple together. Oh my God, can you imagine? That's why you guys will remember this guy, Barry Diller, said Hollywood studios should just cut Netflix out of the negotiations. Just get them out of here, you know? Why are you even having Netflix in the room with you having these discussions? Because all they're doing is just undermining the studios. That's all they're trying to do. He mentioned it here. They should certainly get out of the room with their deepest, fiercest, and almost conclusive enemy, Netflix, and probably Apple and Amazon. The big tech, they're basically going to wipe the floor with the studios right now, all right? I really think the studios made a huge mistake jumping in and doing their own streaming services. They probably should have just stuck with regular linear TV, cable TV, the networks. They should have just stuck with that and not tried to build their own streaming services and just played by their model, you know? Netflix would have still been, you know, grabbing all kinds of market share. But right now, these cats are throwing their hat in the ring with streaming, and they're just losing. You know, all of these different studios are just losing, with the exception of Sony. And then what did Sony do? Sony went and partnered with Netflix. You know, so I think ultimately what's going to end up happening is Netflix, Amazon, and Apple, they are going to end up buying one or more of these major studios. Or they're going to get in some sort of a partnership with those studios, and then those studios will just jettison their streaming services and be like, look, we can't hang with this. And here's the thing. If Netflix and Apple and Amazon and big tech gets its way, they are going to go the full AI route. They are going to really trim those writers' rooms. They're going to trim them down to almost nothing. And what that's going to do is that's going to leave a lot of folks in that business, writers and actors, honestly, they're going to probably trim the fat with some of those actors too, because actors aren't going to want to work for the money that they're making. But what that does is it's going to put a lot of creativity into the independent sphere. And if those guys want to continue to make content, they're going to have to go the independent route. I think they're going to actually have to be forced out of Hollywood. They're going to have to be forced to go independent. And then they'll find, hey, man, it's not so bad over here being an independent. You're going to see more content coming on YouTube. You're going to see, you know, maybe they'll come up with a studio for independent content, you know, SIC. I don't know. But they'll come up with some sort of a studio that, you know, or a streaming service or something where independent content creators can just go and upload all of their content. Maybe it won't be YouTube. Somebody will come out there and try to compete with Google because Google owns YouTube, which is by far the biggest streaming service anywhere. Somebody will come up eventually and find a counter to YouTube that's going to work. And then maybe these guys, these Hollywood types or whatever, are just going to join in with that. You know, that's why it's really important if you are a creative, hey, get in now, okay? Get in now. Get your creativity going right now, because I do believe eventually Hollywood is going to be gone. It's going to be utterly destroyed, or it's going to be limited in such a way that it's not going to be what it is today. It's not going to be this big, huge system. It's just going to be reduced down to, you know, a few studios, a few streaming services, and that's about it. Everybody else is going to be going to independent for their content creation. That's my opinion. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I just wanted to drop some thoughts on that situation because I just find all of this very interesting. You can definitely tell with this strike, there's going to be a change in the mood for everybody, okay? Everything is going to change, and it's going to be interesting to watch how it happens. But you guys let me know what you think. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.